Hi, I'm Will.
And I'm JC, and you're listening to.
Dude,
All right. I think we made some progress there. I think that was l-
we're getting better. And you know what? Speaking of intro, we're in the works of getting a theme song.
you know what threw me off? I'll be real. And if you're watching it live, this is a little bit of inside baseball behind the what just happened. Will put something into his mouth right before we started recording, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" That's like the number one. You don't put something in your but what is it? A lozenge? A losh? How do you?
It's called a throat coat. It's made with eucalyptus, and it's supposed to make me sound sexier than I am. I
Oh,
sound pretty good,
gotcha.
right?
It's like Viagra for your
Mm-hmm.
throat. I thought you sounded sexier when you started talking. I didn't know what it was.
It's kind of like that She's All That movie where she takes off the glasses and it turns out she was hot all the time.
Um, I got something to tell you, Will. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Whatever it is, we can beat this, buddy.
I've been summoned.
To hell?
Well, hopefully not. I, I, I,
What if you got a letter from Satan like, dude, it's your time?
gets in really good like uh was it how do you what's the word for right kigliography, what's it
Oh, calligraphy?
Kig, kigliography is what I was saying, calligraphy, but what is the word, what is the word
Kigliography?
again?
Calligraphy.
Oh my god, calligraphy.
I do like
I,
calligraphy,
I
though.
feel like
Whatever
that
you're saying, I
could
like
be a
it.
thing. Calligraphy. It would be. I imagine a letter from the devil would be like the best wedding invitation you ever got. Like in the sense of like, ooh, who's this from? Uh oh.
For sure. Satan's got great penmanship, for sure.
Oh no. Oh no no. I'm not going to that soiree.
What do you think that letter starts with? Like, to whom it may
Yeah,
concern?
definitely. It's definitely to whom you may concern. Like, but see, I think what he would do was he would delight my senses initially while I'm reading it. Like initially, I'd be like, "Ooh, this is kind of," and then I would realize it was an evil letter, and I would say, "Oh no!" But he at first it'd be like, "My delightful," and I'd be like, like,
I do think Satan has little
It
cute nicknames like, hello, my little
it
butter muffin. Are you ready to come down
well,
to
it's very,
hell?
it's like the line "The Witch in the Wardrobe." We always talk about this Turkish delight, which we both have no idea.
It's the greatest name of all time. When you hear Turkish delight, you want
So
to eat it. It sounds
so
so
wait,
good.
okay. So for people who have not read the line "The Witch in the Wardrobe" recently, the witch, she is one bad Bia. She's a bad girl. Mm-mm.
Hmm.
She the devil, and to tempt the children, she uses some super English British dessert called Turkish Delight, which, of course, like is the most hilarious name for any dessert ever. Uh,
It sounds
it
delicious.
does sound delicious, and I feel like they spent an inordinate amount of time on the Turkish Delight. I don't know if C.S. Lewis realized that he was going to be writing for an American audience who had no idea what the hell Turkish Delight was at all. Like you, because sometimes what they do is they'll insert different words for those, they'll supplement one word for the other.
I'm glad they didn't. They would have been said like
Yeah,
Twinkies or something. Like, and now the witch tempted little Jerry with some Twinkies. It's like that doesn't work. Turkish
with
delight sounds awesome.
snowballs, just like the worst. You're like, oh, that coconut, that pink. Ah,
It's so good. Have you ever had it? By the way, first time I had it was at the age of 33. It was
no, I didn't.
awesome.
When did you have Turkish Delight?
There's a Mediterranean restaurant here, and it's got like a little grocery store in the back of it. And we bought. Well, I saw it had Turkish delight. We bought some, and it
Will,
is
you
so
almost
good.
felt maybe that man or woman was the witch and you were being tempted.
That's what. When I was checking out, I asked him. I said, "You're not a witch, by the way, are you?" And he looked at me and said, "Here's your kebab and your Turkish delight." And I said, He passed the
Mm.
test. He's not a witch. And I went
Yeah,
home and
that's the
ate
test.
it.
That actually is the if you ask someone if they're a witch, they have to tell you. That's the rule. It's witch law. It's witch law.
Well, okay, so tell me, you were summoned. Tell me about it.
I was summoned to be a, and by the way, you never are summoned. It's also it's just fantastic that this is the language that our government uses. I was summoned to be a juror.
Why is that language weird?
We don't use. When else do you use the term summoned?
When you're being summoned,
I get that, but I'm just it's sort of like lavatory in an airplane. Like that's a bathroom. That's a bathroom. Like it's I would more like you're cordially invited to be a juror.
you thought you were hoping it would say that?
I think I get more excited.
I don't think you have a choice, though. It's your civic duty to go. You are summoned. They are literally saying you
But
must be
aren't
here.
many weddings sort of the same way?
Yeah, I think well, you've got one that's more like a social obligation. The other one is more of like a legal obligation.
I want people to start sending wedding invitations that summon people to the event.
I love that. I absolutely love.
I
If you are about to get married, please
summon
summon
people.
people. You're gonna get way more gifts out of that.
I like.
When you're
I
summoned
don't
to a
know. I
wedding,
don't know. I barely know Bill, but he summoned me to this wedding. I think I have to go.
I gotta go. We gotta buy the toaster and get over there.
You know that little John has a soccer game that day. Well, honey, we have to go. It doesn't matter. We were summoned to the wedding because we've been summoned, woman. Yeah, so I'm summoned. I've never been a juror.
What do you hope the crime is? Tell me what you hope. Tell me what your expectations are and
I
what you
mean,
hope.
it'd be nice. The sad thing is like my only impression of court is like what I've seen in like film and movie, and most of the time like the people's court. They're probably gonna look me up and down and be like, this man is not fit to sit on a jury, and I'm probably not gonna make it through.
I hope you. You know what I hope for you? Can I give you my hope? I have two hopes for you. One, I hope that you get a very hilarious, awful crime. Meaning, like, I hope you get like a domestic dispute, but like it ended with one of the persons cutting like the other person's butt cheek off, like one butt cheek, and that's
Well,
the crime.
I don't know if I
Like,
want.
I would be like, yes, a severed butt cheek. This is the best. I scored the jackpot. I would love that. You know how hard it would be for me to not talk about that case? Dude, I, I was in court today. The guy couldn't even sit because he lost a butt cheek.
And he always has to reference it. Your Honor, I would be sitting, but as you know, I don't know why he sounds like he's Squidward, but that would make it great too.
Oh, so my
Yes.
second hope for you is either severed butt cheek
Okay.
or it turns out you've been summoned to Judge Judy. Do you think you get summoned to that show? You have to.
No, I don't think. I think it's a television show. I don't think that's how that works.
You know what I learned like not too long ago that Judge Judy is
Oh, she
loaded.
is hundreds of millions,
She's worth. Hold on, I'm looking
hundreds of
this up.
millions of dollars.
Judge Judy is worth $440 million.
Oh my lord!
A woman running that operation, she is summoning people for sure.
I mean, that could be. I could be again at her discretion. Like, please, please. I would.
I would love
Me
that.
too. I mean, it's Judge Judy. She's the queen. She's our queen, Judge Judy.
The ultimate jackpot? Being summoned to Judge Judy for a severed butt cheek case.
The best would be like the lawyers too. The lawyers would be, Your Honor, my client can't even sit. Can't even sit trial.
Do
He's
you think
not
like
fit to sit for trial because he cannot sit. What if that was it? What if he had like no evidence or anything? He just had like very witty quips about like that he was thinking of that were like kind of funny, like fast things. And then they're like, "Are you going to present any sort of evidence?" And he's like, "I
what if he just what if like at the last minute he pulls out a big old Ziploc bag and it's the butt cheek in the bag, just a bloody
don't,
butt
that's so
cheek?
gross. God, why didn't you clean it up?" I'd be the other lawyer and be like, "Sir, that is a chicken cutlet. That is not even a butt cheek. That is no butt cheek. I have proof.
I know
I
chicken when
have
I see
proof
it.
that he went to Acme Markets and purchased the chicken cutlet. I know Kroger's cuts of chicken, and that's what that is. He, in fact, has both butt cheeks. And guess what? Dinner is served." That's what he would say, something like that. And
That's
that's
his
his
closing
dinner
argument. I love that. That's a great
is
closing
served. And
argument.
the judge is, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, no, I will be summoned tomorrow. I have no idea what that's going to entail. I hope again. I agree with you. I hope it's Judge Judy, and I hope it's a severed butt cheek case. Um, Either way, I'm excited and proud to do my civic duty. I do have I have a tele-doctor appointment at like 4:40 tomorrow, and so I have to tell the judge. Do I go to his chambers? Isn't that don't I like if I have? Do I say, uh, Judge, Your Honor, and that can I may I enter the chamber?
I think so. I think I'm not sure this, but I learned in the movies that when you're in front of the judge, 4 steps backwards,
Oh yeah,
bow,
you're
and then
right. I do
leave.
have to. I got to make sure that I look up my the appropriate bows, and I don't want to offend the judge. God forbid.
So you're in Philadelphia. So is this going to be like in a monumental
Well, it's in
building?
Montgomery County, so technically, because that's technically where I'm at. I'm not Philadelphia County, so it's not like one that's been there that like Ben Franklin
That'd be cool.
hung out here. I don't know what he was gonna. In my head I was like, was Ben Franklin a lawyer? Would he have practiced? No, I don't think he was. He was everything else, but maybe he was. I don't know. That man did everything, so who knows? Anyway, so I will definitely at least I think I'll be able to at least talk about at some point jury, not the case, but maybe jury stuff, which is interesting. So, Will, we sing in Sillyville.
It's a movie. It's a good one. It's a classic.
A couple weeks ago, I broke down Land Before Time. Talked about how
Yeah.
dark it was. I know We Sing in Sillyville was a big hit in your life. Uh, I don't know if you this being such a big film. Do you want to go back and maybe give the people who may not know We Sing in Sillyville a little bit of context, explain a little bit more about what made this film so inspiring to you?
So for those of you who don't know, there is a series of videos back in the late '80s, early '90s called "We Sing," and there's a lot of different versions, like "We Sing Together." Um, One I think called "Grandpa's Magical Toys."
They're at a farm. I
Um,
think at one point they go
that's
to a farm. There's a farm because I remember We Sing Sillyville on a farm.
yeah, yeah. We sing at Big Rock Candy Mountain. That was a big one. But the one that we watched in my home was We Sing in Sillyville, and it's a lovely tale about two children named Scott and Lori, and their mischievous dog Barney, and they get sucked into a coloring book, and a lady named Silly Whim summoned Scott and Lori into the coloring book to help all the colors unite as one because they decided they weren't in harmony with each
Mm.
other. The pages weren't colored.
Mm.
It's all about living in
Mm-hmm.
harmony,
Sure.
right?
So I went back and rewatched a little bit of it. And I don't know why, but I will say that like again, it wasn't as big of a film for me. growing up, but it was one that like I knew the songs. I remembered the songs. I remembered this uh, this woman who looks like Elena from Broad City.
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
And
yeah,
uh
yeah.
and had having no colors on her shirt, and that was like the big thing. Like she gets all the colors at the end. I also love,
And she used to be very colorful,
but
and she was missing her
I mean
colors.
that is quite a conundrum. What is the relationship of the boy and the girl? Are they friends? Are they brother and sister?
No, no, no. They're brother. They're I think they're brother and sister. They don't look
No,
alike, but
no,
I believe they're
no.
brother and
That's
sister.
they. I don't. I'm not. They don't look alike at all. That was a very. That's why I was like, oh, they brother. Maybe a new marriage. Maybe a second marriage. Trying trying to figure that out. It kind of looked like more of like an Arnold Schwarzenegger sort of Danny DeVito sort of like that different of the family dynamics. The gene pool was that far separated between the brother and the sister because they certainly did not look related at all, which is why I asked. Um, the other thing that I'll notice is like I guess you rewatch it, and I guess it's a really nice story. The message itself is uh first, it's every song you ever heard as a child. Like every single, like they do a great job of packing in any song that you heard. Like if you're a parent listening to this, the Coco Melons, all that stuff, like it just steals these old songs that are just recycled. Right, and this
Yeah.
is like the same thing where they're just recycling all these old songs that you've heard 100 million times.
You know what? But I gotta say, there's a song in that movie that is insane, and I've never heard that song other than we sing in Sillyville. Here's the lyrics: "We're here because we're here, because we're here, because we're here," and they sing that over and over again.
So but this I watched it. It actually holds up. It shockingly came out in I think 1989, and it holds up pretty. Special effects are pretty decent.
My kids loved it.
No, I wanted to circle back on something we talked about last week, and it
Okay,
was mishearing mishearing of songs, lyrics of
lyrics,
songs. and
song
and
lyrics.
so my mom, she just kind of had to use her, I guess, best judgment on like what would be appropriate or inappropriate. But for some reason she didn't let me watch the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, which really again was like, Uncle Phil, Will Smith. I mean, it was like it was PG. I mean, it was the most PG of PG, you know, sitcoms that. But I was convinced the reason she didn't want me to watch it was because in the beginning of the song, the Fresh Prince theme song, uh, do,
Classic, by
do,
the way.
do,
Classic
yeah.
song.
I yelled out to the cab. What does it say? I yelled out to the cab, "Yo, home, smell you later." Right. That's like the
Yeah.
last lyric of the rap, and I thought he said, "Yo, home, smell your wiener." And I was convinced. Like I for years I thought this. I thought it was like he was just being like, because he also did this because he said, "Yo, home, smell you later," and he was like, and he was making like a
Yeah,
ooh like
yeah.
face, and I was like, ooh.
But that's the classic face you would make if you were smelling one's wiener. I get it.
For whatever reason, I thought he took the cab directly from. Did he take the cab from Philly to? Is that the
Yeah,
lyrics?
and that's my understanding. Yeah, that's
So
a big
that's in my
thing.
head when I was thinking, smell your wiener. Like, of course, if you're going to be stuck in a cab that long, I mean, it's gonna get stinky. It's gonna get really smelly in there. That's what you're gonna. So that's what I thought. One of the reasons I thought my mother did not want me to watch the show was because Will Smith was saying, "Yo, home, smell your wiener." And I
Hey, and you know what? If that was the case, I'd agree. If my son had a show going on and it was about smelling wieners, I say, son, this is inappropriate. Nuh-uh, not today. We're not watching this. This is,
not in my house, not in my house.
and I get it. If that was the case, I get it. Sue, I understand you. You're seen.
You've been seen, you've been heard, you've been respected. But yeah, that was it. That was one of those. So that was another famous lyric flip.
You know one lyric, while we're talking about lyrics, one lyric that I always love that I've never gotten out of my head is Creed. What a Creed song. And there's a song where Creed says, "I yelled back when I heard thunder,"
I yelled back when
and I
I
always
heard
wonder like,
thunder.
and I just always picture in my head, I'm like, you wrote that, you thought about that and wrote that down, and I picture him drinking some cocoa in his house on a rainy night, and all of a sudden there's thunder, and he goes, "Ah, no, no thunder."
So I have to share this story because it just I don't know if this is for anybody else other than me and you, but I just think about this every time I
Mm-hmm.
think about Creed. Was uh for children in the 90s, 90s and the 2000s, basically anybody before they had a smartphone, uh and maybe still, I think even still today, when you have nothing going on, you'll just walk around. And I feel like me and you spent a lot of our childhood just walking around because we lived in
Yeah, we did.
adjacent neighborhoods about a half mile away, and
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes we'd just be walking, and like events would happen. We would get chased by people, or um,
Yeah.
people would throw things at us, or try to sell us things, or I don't know.
A guy once asked us to help him wash his car, and we were too afraid.
That's what I was saying. Was we were kind of bullied into helping that man wash his car. He was a very large, intimidating man, and we didn't want to, but he helped. But then he paid us $10. He was clearly very behind on like having to wash multiple cars, and he was sitting there thinking,
Yeah.
"How am I going to get this done?" And then he goes, "You boys look like you got nothing to do." And I think we were like,
He did say that. He absolutely. He said, he goes, you guys aren't doing anything important, right?" And the thing is, we weren't. We were just walking.
we were just too honest of young boys too. We really were. Like we were the perfect. Like we were the perfect. It was amazing that more negative stuff didn't happen to us because we were way too agreeable and way too honest with like
Mm-hmm.
everybody. Like they were like, "You boys look like you have nothing good to do, nothing going on," and we were like, "You're right, sir. We have nothing going on. You're absolutely right."
I remember him being like, "I'll pay you $10 and teach you a skill that you ought to learn at this age," and we were just kind of like, ah.
It was like basically how to use like a sham. Like it was like wax, and like they had like a sham wow tool that he was using. And I remember he was smoking a lot and like talking on his cell phone a lot.
While we did, like, we waxed his car. That's what we did. We waxed it.
The Winter Olympics were going on. I remember this vividly, and I remember again taking that $10 and going to Target and buying. We both bought Creed albums
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I remember that too.
of us.
And let me run something by you. Let me ask you something. The other day, Jordan, my wife, and I were in the bathroom getting ready for bed, and I was really dreading brushing my teeth. And I realized brushing your teeth is the stupidest thing that you can do as an adult. I hate brushing my
You don't
teeth.
like to brush, my man?
I
I love
hate
the.
it.
I don't
You
mind.
like
I
it?
don't mind brushing. I like it.
What? There's a handful of things as an adult that I genuinely hate to do, and they're really not hard. It's like brushing your teeth, getting your oil changed, making a dentist appointment. It's like those three things. You got to do it. They're really not that hard, but I hate it. I hate every single bit of it.
Is it your? Do you have sensitive gums, Will? Is it your gums?
My gums are in their prime. Daddy's got good gums.
I always love that's one of my favorite things at the dentist is like they like take like that metal thing and they're like poking the hell out of your gums and they're like, they're bleeding now. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you just took a fork and you just stabbed me the equivalent. You cattle prod my gums for like a half an hour and now you're surprised that they're bleeding. Like, they shouldn't be doing that.
I love like the little comments they make as if you're not right there. Like they're this close to your face and they're just saying things like, not liking what I'm seeing. Or things like, that's a solid tooth right there.
The dentist,
It's
it's
intimate.
intimate and it's very bizarre where they should. I feel like whenever you get into that career you all of a sudden have no internal dialogue, like there's no internal, it's like anything whatever
Yeah.
for whatever reason uh they have no internal dialogue. You know what, that is the I one of the few times I've ever written a letter, like you write a letter to like be like,
I'm curious where this is going. You wrote a letter to your
oh yeah, I
dentist?
broke up with my first dentist here in the greater Philadelphia area.
Via
Yeah,
letter?
I sent them a letter
At what age?
in my 20s because
What? Can I recap this, folks? J.C. Crum just told us that as a 20, you moved to Philly at like 22.
no,
So
no, no,
that
I moved
means
here at 20. No, 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 no. I didn't graduate college till 23. So I think I was 24. I think I was 24 I moved up here.
at 24,
24, 25.
instead of going to the dentist, instead of emailing, calling, you got out pen and paper and told your dentist, I can no longer
Yes,
see you?
because I was so upset because what they would do. Here's what the dentist would do. I this was a dentist who I went through a friend that I had up here, and because again it's like you go online, you have no idea like what dentist you're gonna, so I go to this dentist, and what they would do is they would try to sell you, they would like upsell you the entire time. I'm not They would try to sell you like the Oral B brush, like the nice, which I, listen, I get it, they're great toothbrushes and I understand they're better on your gums, but like it was like the toothbrush was like $200. Like it was a very expensive toothbrush, and they would try to sell it to you. They'd be like, "You really need an Oral B. Like, would you like to buy one? We could buy one through us."
You're saying so many things that is blowing my mind. You went to a dentist that sold you a $200
No, I
toothbrush?
wouldn't buy the toothbrush. They kept trying, and they had like toothpaste that they were hawking. They had special toothpaste, special toothbrush. They had like other tools that they would hawk, and they would, dude, they would like hard sell you, like they were very aggressive. Like they were like the Cutco knife door salesman. Like, I'm not gonna leave your door unless you know what I mean.
This toothbrush, it works wonders. It would be a mistake to pass on this toothbrush.
I think it's something you need this toothbrush. You really, I would hate to see what would happen to your mother or your father if you didn't purchase a nice Oral B toothbrush. I mean, your gums. It's a shame. I see you have beautiful teeth, but I see that your gums they've unfortunately gone back. They've protruded. They've
You wouldn't want gingivitis to come knocking on your door, would you?
that'd be terrible if you know Uncle Gingivitis had to make a visit. We wouldn't want that to happen, would we? No, it was so. It was it was always, and it's also. I mean, it's funny that we're doing kind of a mafia impression here because it always kind of feels like that in the dentist already, because you never see the dentist. All you see is the dental hygienist, like, and then they're just like,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
let me go get the boss man. Like then the dentist comes in there for all of like
Yeah.
he literally is like the celebrity guest at the dentist. Like he comes
Mm-hmm.
in, He
Yeah.
like literally like magically appears. He twirls around. He, he pretends to be very interested in your x-rays or like when you're sitting there with your mouth open, and then he just like dances away. So they would push all these items and I would say no. And exactly like you said, I swear, like I would stand firm because I had no money. I was valeting for extra money at the time. I was making no money. All my money was going like I would have moments every like weekend where I was like, eating a bagel, like, okay, I have $25 left in my account. Like, can I, how can I still have beers at this bar and feed myself until I get paid on next Friday? Like, that was the conversations I was regularly having with myself. And so, and
Yeah.
so the idea of a $200, like, of course not. Like, I'm not going to, so
Toothbrush.
I remember there was a very like awkward, like it was like mom and dad were fighting like next to me, and it was the hygienist and the dentist. He was like, I tried to sell him the toothbrush and he didn't. He was like, what do you mean he wouldn't take the toothbrush? Like they were having this dialogue, like to your point, like 2 feet away from me.
This is insane.
This also happened. This is not once. This happened over a course of like a year. And so finally, I got so fed up that I found another dentist.
A year? Can you clarify? A year of going
Yes,
in, them trying
yes.
to sell it to you, or would they like
No,
call you
every
and
time I
try to
go
sell
in,
it?
they really, really
Okay.
pushed. And so
Okay.
I found another dentist, and I wrote them a dramatic breakup, like, "Dear dentist, I don't like that you like. I'm going to see another dentist. And here's why. I completely Karen them. I, as a 25-year-old, Karen the dental practice.
Enraged JC is a hoot. That is
I did.
fun. I love
So
that. You know what? I hope you and I have a long lasting friendship till our grave. But if you did break up with me, please do it by a letter.
that I tell you is I I didn't realize that a pediatrician was a children's doctor.
Okay.
So I may, for my first doctor up here, I may have found a pediatrician and gone to them until,
So were you in the waiting room and there was like kids' toys?
but like I was just like, I guess it is what it is. And like I went to this doctor multiple times before they finally was like, hey, like you're the only adult at this practice. And I was like, what? I didn't know pediatrician meant. I'm not making this up. I promise you I'm not making this up.
Why did you not? Why did they not tell you from the first get go? Like, sir, just so you know,
They were just like, maybe we thought we had him as a kid and like, or he was like someone's relative and they felt bad. Like that was,
did they have like squeaky toys and they're like like in their
I
pot?
do think there was.
Did they give you did they give you a sucker at the end of it?
I
I
mean,
hope.
there were lollipops. I do think it was weird when I'd go into like the rooms. There would be like like a fire truck in there or something like that. But there was also like a normal one, so it wasn't like I had to sit on the fire. It wasn't like that blatant. Where like you can see in a world where like if you didn't know better that perhaps you could have just been like, oh, okay, I guess it. And then it was like, you know what happened? Like once I figured it out, I can't remember. It was my doctor who told me. She was like, a pediatrician is a chill. Like this was this was. I'm not kidding. I went there for like a year and a half. Like I went there for a long time. I got physicals from this woman. I got physicals from this woman.
It was a lady?
Yeah, it was a lady. It was a lady doctor. She told me, and I swear it was like the end of the Sixth Sense movie. Like where he's like having the flashback and he's like seeing all the things that like he was like, oh, like he was seeing all the signs along the way that should have been blatant to him. Like, oh, like I was dead the whole time. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was what happened. Like, oh, like I had the thought in the memory of me and like me in the room and it's all children. It's just me as an adult. It was like every time like the doctor would come in, she kind of was like surprised I was there and like would look at the chart and look at me and look, but she was like real, but she wouldn't say anything. Like she was just like, but I was always like kind of weird, but whatever. Um, yeah, no, I mean, she gave me physicals. Um,
That's amazing. This is one of the best things you've ever told me. It's like it's like going in to get an eye exam for like a couple of years, and they finally say like, "I'm a gastroenterologist."
yeah,
You weren't suspicious at all during any of that.
nah, you know, because I really feel like I
There's like kids' artwork
I
on the
I
wall, and like,
I think like again, like you know, like I because like okay, so follow my logic here. Like I went to the doctor pretty much only with my mom, for like years and years, and then like you like I feel like I feel like we got our physicals at school, like through like for sports, right? So like
yeah,
I wasn't I just felt like I wasn't going to the doctor for a while, like an actual like
right.
physician,
Hmm.
and then
Well, your mom's a nurse.
and
That makes
so
sense.
yeah, and my mom's a kids nurse, so like I think I just didn't see like how like oh this is
Hmm.
maybe there should be another adult here other than me every time I come in here. Like again, it was just me sitting with like parents and children, and I was just like, well, all right, like, and I was coming from work like in business attire too, so it was like great.
That's
Yeah, here comes the 20-something-year-old man who's like, like I don't know, I'm having like
it's one of the greatest things you have ever told me.
that's and then I'll say one more. You know what? Now that we're just on doctor rants, I got one more thing, and I'm gonna say this is something that made me feel uncomfortable. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go here, and I feel like it first time in my life, I felt like what it was like to be like um violated.
Good. Okay, I want to hear this.
I've had, and it's been twice, two optometrists remove my contacts from my eyes and not ask me if they could do it.
Yeah, that's kind of intimate. Yeah, I get that.
It's all old men. Old white men have done it, and I don't like it at
Hmm.
all. And it makes me feel
I was picturing an
I
old
don't
white man, by
I
the way.
don't like it. Like I'd just be sitting there and they'd be like just going in with their finger and like have their it's the weirdest thing. And then you're just like you like naturally I'd be like, oh like I'd want to like duck back, but like I froze in the moment I froze and realized this man is swiping at my eye and he would just take the contact out for me, and I didn't want it to. It felt I felt very violated and used afterwards. I did not like it, and
Yeah.
it's happened to me twice by two different doctors.
Hey, you know what you need? You know what you need to do? Write them a letter. Pull dust off an oldie. Write them a letter.
I could write him.
Speaking of being uncomfortable at the doctor, I have one. So I won't get into the details. I'll spare you the details. But I had to go, and everything's 100%. But I had to make a visit to the gastroenterologist. And I was an adult at this time. And I specifically wanted a male doctor. That's
Sure,
understandable, right? If you're female, you probably want to see a female
sure,
gastroenterologist,
it's
right?
fair.
Because they're looking at very intimate
Sure,
parts of
fair
your
enough.
body, right? And it's a very vulnerable position you're in, leaning over on like the bed, and they're doing their business, right? So, put on my little gown, I'm waiting, and all of a sudden the male doctor comes in with a young female, like
Oh
student
no,
doctor.
the worst.
And he goes, "Hello, Mr. Skaggs. This is so and so. She's a med student just shadowing us today." Now, what's the problem? And so here I am, like, I'm explaining everything, and he goes, okay, well, let's just bend over and take a look. And he's explaining things to her like my ass is a diagram. And I'm
You
sitting
were.
there. I have never been more humiliated. I don't know. It's very much in line there with finger in the eyeball.
I think it's worse. I'll be honest with you. I think it's far more intimate than finger in the eyeball.
I was so embarrassed.
I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure she didn't look like an old hag too. Like you almost wish at that point it would have been like some creature of the night woman.
Here's the thing. I was probably 32 at the time, and she was young, much younger than me because she was a medical student. So I was sitting here just, I didn't get what I wanted. Somehow, I did something to the universe that karma was like, you deserve this, Will Skaggs.
Man, well, I mean, I'm just glad that when she was up there, she didn't chop off one of your cheeks.
Chop off the old chicken cutlet.
Chop off the old chicken cutlet.
Well, JC, as we mentioned, on our last podcast, we did a fake advertisement for Red Cup. We want to show potential advertisers or potential companies.
What you could get if you advertise with us.
We're no spring chickens. We can do this.
Of course.
We can take your beautiful business, wrap it up, put a bow on it, and give it to the masses. And you can collect your checks, your sweet, sweet rubies and diamonds. And so what we decided to do this time around, pick a product that is personal to us, something that we really love. And I decided I'm going to use an AI tool to write an ad for this product, right? So what I did was I went to an artificial intelligence website, an AI website that writes copy based on what you want it to say. And you can set, my favorite part is you can set a specific voice that you want to read it in, like a very dramatic voice or a very lighthearted voice. So what I did was I took a product that I love called Four Sigmatic Mushroom Coffee. I drink it every morning. I love it. Mushroom coffee, a company called Four Sigmatic, and I told AI I wanted to be read as an old prospector. So JC Crum, I sent you the link to what I had AI write, and we are going to read this ad for Four Sigmatic. And Four Sigmatic, you're welcome to pay us for this, but this one's for you. This one's for free.
All right.
JC,
would you like me to read it like an old prospector?
It's advised.
Well, slap my suspenders and call me a whippersnapper. It's time to grab life by the biscuit and make it count. Grab yourself a jar of cha and lend it here, 'cause I got an advertisement for y'all. Now, I may be a toothless old prospector from the rolling hills of Saskatchewan with a rusty old plunger for a foot, but I know a thing or two about living your best life, and that's where Four Sigmatic Mushroom Coffee comes in. Y'all, this is insane that that AI wrote this. And this is, by the way, the first time I'm seeing this, everybody. You see, these wise folks at Four Sigmatic believe that mushrooms are the key of being healthier and happier. And heck, I reckon they're onto something with their Nordic roots and foraging traditions, and they're bringing y'all the benefits of them functional mushrooms in that easy-to-incorporate coffees, elixirs, and more. But here's the old knee slapper, my favorite part. Their organic coffee powder by Lion's Made Chonga mushroom packs a punch like a donkey in heat. And get this, folks, you could see results in as little as 7 days. Just look at the miracle that is me. So, my friends, if you want to feel on top of the world, try Four Sigmatic Mushroom Coffee. Trust this old prospector. It's the real deal. Just make sure to bring your own teeth in to plug your foot. Happy sipping, y'all. Remember, life's too short for bitter coffee or taking yourself too seriously. Yeehaw!
Four Sigmatic, what are you waiting for?
That's the kind of quality
or any other products.
And so, yeah, what we will do on a weekly basis is have AI write advertisements until we actually get advertisements. I will have AI write one that will have to read next week. And by the way, we really do appreciate everybody liking and subscribing to the podcast. Feel free to leave comments. Feel free to leave suggestions. Feel free to do comment on Instagram, anything. And we're still building out content and figuring this thing out. So we really appreciate you guys for listening to us and giving us that time. We're hoping to start getting guests lined up. So if you're interested in also being a guest, feel free to reach out. Tell some stories.
Absolutely.
I think that's sort of the goal. Tell some funny stories, kind of riff with us, and that's where we're gonna go. All right, everybody. Have an incredible week. Go Sixers. Go Thunder. Go Phillies. Go Brewers. Go Oklahoma State. Go Penn State. Go. Just go.
Go all the states.
Even territories.
That's what we do here on Dude. We root for every single one of you. Thank you for listening to us this week. We hope you guys listen next week.
See you next week.
Have a good one.
See you, dudes.